Hi friends, previously we have discussed about the hotworks, minimum acceptable standards in the constructions. Today I would like to discuss the Mobile Scaffold Towers minimum acceptable standards in the construction. So let's begin. Minimum requirements. More one rules, legal or contractual requirements shall always take precedence. A risk assessment must be conducted to determine the suitability of the task for the use of mobile scaffold. So we need to make sure that we are complying with the legal and contractual requirements for the erection, alteration, and dismantling of the mobile scaffold. And also, before we can start to do the job, we need to make sure that we have a risk assessment in place, approved, to make sure that we are properly controlling the associated hazards and risks for the mobile scaffolding works. On erecting, altering, and dismantling of mobile scaffold, there are requirements such as a copy of the manufacturer's instructions shall be available and strictly adhered to. So on this manufacturer's instruction or the manual, you can find the safe erecting and altering of and dismantling of this scaffold, even using of the mobile scaffold. All components must be free from repairs, defects, dents, bends, distortion, or corrosion that could prevent safe use. So when there is a damage on the components of the scaffolding, it will lessen the safe working load of the mobile scaffold. At the same time, you cannot fix it properly because of those damage. Components from different manufacturers shall not be mixed in the same tower. So, example, one component you mix to another component of the scaffolding. Example, you have one whole scaffold of one manufacturer, and then you have missing bracing. So you will get the another components from different manufacturers, which is less capacity or safe working load. Then what will happen on the existing mobile scaffold? It might be collapsed because of that lower safe working load of the bracing or the components. So never mix any components of different manufacturers. Platform boards must be free from holes, delamination, or other damage. So make sure that all the platforms are good in working conditions, so that it will prevent the people to fall or falling object from the holes accidentally. Personnel erecting, altering, and dismantling towers shall be competent. So make sure that the persons engaged on the scaffolding works, scaffolding towers, are competent. So competent that the way that they hold recognized certification from the authority, and then on the basic scaffold erection, alteration, and dismantling. Of course, you need to provide as well competent supervisions to check what the progress of works and if the progress of work is being done correctly. So on this matter, if the person competent to do the job, they can immediately recognize the unsafe practice or the unsafe parts of the scaffolding, the unsafe condition or of the area before they can start, so they can make rectification before continue. Height ratios and use of outriggers. Where the height base ratio is not supplied by manufacturers, such as lock scaffold, the ratio of the minimum base dimension to the height of the working platform shall not exceed 1:3 for external use and 1:3.5 for internal use, unless the tower is suitably secured by another permanent structures. Like for example, on this scaffolding on the right pictures, you have the base here and the height. Remember, the base is dimension should always on the lowest dimension of the base. So you need to multiply what is the height base ratio if they are complying with the 1:3 for external use or 1:3.5 for internal use. Unless this structure is connected on the other permanent structures, so you don't need to compute that height to ratio, height to base ratio. Okay, so base ratio can be increased by the use of fully extended and locked out triggers on both sides of the platform that have been inspected by the competent person. Like for example, on this base, so you want to insert the out trigger. Like for example, here you will insert out trigger. Okay, so you will insert the outrigger here and also here on the other sides. Okay, and also on the other sides. So on this motor, you are increasing the base ratio of the said scaffold. Okay, so that is the outrigger example sketch. So on this motor, because you provided outrigger, you increase the base dimension of the mobile scaffold. Okay, so foundation, use only on hard level surface. Okay, so when you are using the mobile scaffold, you need to check the area is level, the surface is level and hard, fully compacted, to prevent the wheels sinking on the surface, because once it's sinking, the scaffolding will collapse or may tip over on the ground, so the stability is compromised. The wheels or caster wheels shall not be less than 125 millimeter in diameter. So the diameter of as you can see the picture on the right, diameter of the caster wheel should be not less than 125 millimeter in diameters. Okay, caster wheels shall be locked into the base of the standards and fitted with the brakes which cannot be accidentally released. So the caster wheel, there is a lock on it, so always when before the personnel going on the top of the mobile scaffold, it should be locked, and make sure that the brake is fitted so that there is no accidental release of this brake. Caster wheels shall never be supported on the blocks, etc., to gain additional height on steep inclines. So you cannot put some blocks on the underneath of this caster wheel to make it level, because it will give you unsafe condition and it will trigger to an accident. Any adjustable legs must only be used for leveling the scaffold and not for gaining extra height. So the adjustable legs is only for leveling the scaffold, but not for the making or gaining extra height for the scaffold. Okay, so like for example, on this caster wheels, you can see here the safe working load 1000 kilograms. Make sure that you are not exceeding on this load. The personnel on the scaffold plus the weight of the scaffold plus the materials that you need to put on the scaffold and then plus the environmental loads, like for example the winds, everything. So everything that may trigger to fail all of the components of the scaffold. Working platforms. Platforms shall be fully boarded, secured in place, and at least 600 mm wide, except when used for deposit of materials when the site when the shall be at least materials and shall be at least 800 mm wide. Okay, so the minimum is 600 mm the platforms, and if you need to put some materials on it, the minimum is increased to 600 mm. Loads on the platform shall be evenly distributed. So why we need to evenly distributed this load on the platforms? So that we can prevent concentrated load in one area only on the platforms. Remember that the capacity or safe working load of the platform is computed per square meters. Like for example, 100 kilograms or 100 kilograms per square meters. So that means if you have 200 kilograms, you cannot put it all in 1 square meter. So you need to distribute it all those 200 kilograms to make it evenly on the platform. Any trapdoors or hatch on the platform shall be closed when platform is in use. So if you have a trapdoor on the platform to prevent some people accidentally fall on the hole or the platform, you need to make sure that this is closed, because when the person are concentrated to that job, they may neglected this opening and they will fall on that opening. It is prohibited to place step ladders on platforms for the purpose of gaining extra heights. So when you have the platforms and then you realize that the work cannot be reached on that platforms, then you will provide the ladders to get extra height. It's not permitted, and it is prohibited. So what you need to do, and you need to modify the scaffolds, call the scaffolding team to make sure to fit the scaffold on your requirements, so that you can do the job without modifying or without providing a step ladder on the platforms to get the extra height. Okay, so guardrails and two boards. Guardrails and two boards shall be fitted to every sides of the platforms. Make sure that all the guardrails and two boards is fixed on every side of the platform to prevent personnel from fall, and also the materials falling objects. Two boards shall be at least 150 mm height and top rail at least 950 mm above platform level, with a mid rail at 470 mm. So this is the minimum 150 mm high for the two boards, and 9.5 meters above platform level, the top guardrails. This is to make sure that the persons will not falling down when you have this edge protections, and materials will not falling down when you have the two boards. Where materials need to be stored above the two boards height, additional boards or suitably meshed barrier will be pitted. So when you want to store materials above the two boards, then you need to make additional mesh or barriers, so that the materials will not falling down. Access. Climbing up the horizontal members of the end frame shall not be permitted. Access shall be provided by vertical ladders attached internally to the narrow sides. Like for example, on this sketch, this is the two boards and this is the access. So the ladder is laying on the shortest narrow side of the platform, so that it will not compromise the stability of your platform. Internal incline ladders. Ladder sections integral with frame members. These shall be climbed from the inside only. So that means if you have a ladder, you cannot climb it from outside, should be climbed from inside. This to make sure that when you are climbing on the ladder, the scaffolding is still stable to carry your load, to carry your movement. Access must never be means of a ladder leaning against the outside of the tower. So this will making the scaffold is unstable due to the imposed live load when you are climbing on the ladder. So it may trigger to the accidental movement of the tower due to your weights. Inspection. When you are doing inspection as minimum acceptable standards, mobile scaffold tower shall be inspected against manufacturer's instruction and documented by a competent person. So when you are using mobile scaffold tower, it should be inspected, okay, in everything, like from the ground up to the top levels of the scaffold, and this should be recorded and filed by a competent person before being used for the first time. After any event likely to have affected strength or stability, when a tower is moved to a new location and girders, outriggers, and other components have been removed and replaced during move and at regular intervals not exceeding 7 days. So the inspection should be done before being used for the first time, or after any event like bad weather conditions, or when you move the tower to another new locations, or at least 7 days as per the law, you need to conduct inspection. User requirements. Check the scaffold. So if you are the users, you need to check the scaffold and ensure that an inspection has been carried out within the last 7 days. So you need to check if there is a tag there and it is currently inspected less than 7 days or maximum 7 days. If this is already 8 days, then you need to call the supervisors or the scaffolding team so that they can inspect the scaffold and update the inspection tag of the scaffolding. Check the tower for obvious defects prior to use. So we don't know who are the last person used the scaffold, since in the construction there are so many people using the same scaffold. So before you use the scaffold, check it for obvious defects, so that you are sure that you are in the safe. Or if you found something defects, then you need to call competent persons to modify the scaffold or change the defects and make it reassess the scaffold and again update the tag. Check all wheels and outriggers are locked before you go up. So when you are doing the checks, you need to check the wheels and outriggers. Make sure that all are fully tight and the wheels are locked, outriggers are fixed, so that it will prevent accidental movement when you are climbing or using the scaffolding. Check the legs are on level surface and away from voids, etc. So when you are doing the inspection as well, the user should check the area for the scaffolding if the legs are still on the level surface and not away from any voids, like for example the edge of the cliffs, edge of the building, edge of the excavation, so that it will not collapse or it will not make unstable when you are using your scaffold. Never climb the outside of the tower to gain access. You are the user. You need to climb only inside of the tower, inside of the access. Ensure trapdoors remain closed while using the platform. As I discussed, when you are the user, make sure that the trapdoors on the platforms is closed. This is to prevent you from falling. If you don't have trapdoors, you can put edge protection on that opening. Do not remove or interfere with ties, guardrails, two-boards, and ladder. Alteration to scaffold must only be made by authorized persons. Okay, so you are not allowed to alter your scaffold while you are using it. Coordinate always to the authorized person. So if you are the engineers, you need to make requests. A full-time scaffold persons, authorized person. If you are frequently moving from one place to another place, so you need to have a full-time standby authorized person to alter your scaffold to make sure that it is suitable for your job. PPE deemed necessary in the risk assessment for the task shall be worn at all times. Never remain on the mobile scaffold while it is being moved. So before you move or transfer the mobile scaffold from one place to another place, all person should be going down on the floor and before transferring of that mobile scaffold, because when you are moving it may collapse because of unbalanced movement of the personnel on the top, and the center of gravity of the scaffold may compromise, and then it will tip over and it will get a disaster if someone get injured or died. So this is one example of the mobile scaffolding with outrigger. So as you can see, there is outrigger to gain extra length of the base to make the scaffold more stable than without outrigger. And there is a caster wheels as well. So there is a correct means of access. So make sure that the access is attached if the access is attached on the scaffold, make sure that the people are climbing up inside of the scaffold. And this is the sample of a scaffolding inspection tag. So you can see here what is the capacity of the scaffolding, and if this is on yellow, that means the scaffold is under erection or not yet completed, or sometimes they cannot complete because of the presence of the structures like the pipes. So you need to have an extra care while using the same scaffold. But if this is on green status, that means the scaffold is very safe to use, but you need to make sure you need to make sure that you are complying safe procedure of using the scaffold. But if this is on red tag, that means no one is allowed to use such scaffold until it is being rectified by the competent persons and put the green tag on it. Okay guys, we have completed the minimum acceptable standards in construction for the mobile scaffolding. Next we will discuss the excavation minimum acceptable standard in the constructions. So please don't forget to subscribe and like and hit the notification bell to get the notification when we have new videos of tutorial that will help us, especially those doesn't have experience in the sites. It will help you a lot, and make sure that you will not get accident when you are doing your job in the constructions. All right, thank you for watching, and God bless.